name is Gabrielle, and today I'm going to be repotting this Alocasia Macrorrhisa here that I inherited from my mother. It wasn't doing very well at her place, so she gave it to me to see if I could get it to grow on. And it's given me a few new leaves, but they're still not as big as I would want them to be at the age of this plant. So I'm going to repot it today, give it a bit of a chunkier mix. I don't quite know what the mix is under here. It doesn't look too bad, but I think because it's not growing as it should, and it's in quite a big pot, I'm going to repot it straight back into this pot. But because it's not growing as it should for the thickness of the stump and everything, I just think it's time to have a good look. So I'm going to put it into my chunky arrowroot mix that I'm going to make up. I'll use some of the same soil out of here. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go on a bit of a corm hunt, because it's given me a pup here. So I'm going to take that one out and put it up separately. But I'm also going to see how many other corms are in here. I don't know how long it's been growing in this pot, but my mother had it for, I would say a year and a half, and I've had it for about 6 months now maybe. So that's at least 2 years. So I think there are probably quite a few corms in here that we can get out and grow on. So first thing we're going to do, going to get rid of these little fake moss stones that I put in here. So I'll just pop those in here for the moment. The reason I put these in here was I have cats, and I don't have any underplanting on this plant, and because of that, cats, if they find any kind of soil anywhere, they like to dig in it. They don't necessarily go to the bathroom in it, but they do like to have a little play in a dig. And of course, I'm in an apartment, and I've got carpets on the floor, and I don't want soil everywhere. So they seem to keep these little things seem to keep the cats out of my plants. But I am actually going to do some understory planting here as well with this one. I'm just going to put some little Tradescantia down. I find that they work really, really well. You just lay them flat on the surface, and they'll develop roots from every little node, and in no time it will be spilling over this pot. So next thing we're going to do is we are going to get our little bouquet bucket, and I'm going to put it in. It's rather heavy. I let it dry out for quite a while, but it's still rather heavy, this pot. So I think the soil mix is probably quite dense. Anyway, let's just see how we're going to be able to move it. There aren't any real roots coming out of the bottom. So actually, yes, there is. There's a root coming out. So it'll be interesting to see exactly what is in here when we get it out. Yeah. This mix, if you can see it, hang on, I'll bring it up to you. Let's just pop that there. Is it going to be okay? Yeah. This mix is quite fine. It's really just a soil mix. So it's really not as I would like to have it. If we do this a little bit, you can see, hang on, that's got some sand in it for drainage. But yeah, no chunky bits or anything. I like to have a bit more chunk in my mix. So yeah, I think there's actually quite a bit of sand in here, which probably isn't too bad for an alocasia, but let's just see how we can do about getting it out. It's gone winter here now, turn to winter here now, I should say. And because of that, just pull on the horizon a little bit. Because it's winter, it's not really going to be the growing season. I would normally do this in spring, but I want to see if I can get the corms out. Yeah, you can see their roots coming up from the bottom here, coming up towards the top of the pot, which usually means it's a little bit pot bound. But these leaves should be much, much bigger at this stage go through it for the corms, mix up some slow mix and get this repotted. So just bring you in a bit. So first of all, let me give you a bit of a close up at the soil. You can see that it's pretty compact, which is why it's still wet even though it hasn't been watered in a very, very long while. So we're going to fix that. It's crumbly and friable, so the roots shouldn't have too much of a problem getting through. It has a few stones in it, but basically it looks like just sand, a bit of potting mix. There's a lot of old, looks like Osmocote granules in here. Actually, they don't seem to have released a lot. Oh yes, they have. There we go. I crushed it. You can't really crush them when they're fresh. However, quite big stones as well. So, yeah. All right. So let's get on. Let's show you the root ball first. So here we go. This is the root system. So I'm just going to gently pull. So it's got a nice big root system, as you can see. Nice thick roots. We're going to break off a few of the finer ones, but that's okay. And it goes down to here, so we could do what Kaylee Ellen calls a butt cut on it, if we wanted to, but I'm not going to because that's the size of the girth of the actual bulb here is very large, so I'm not going to do that, but I am going to take off this little guy here, and we will pot him up separately. So, put that down carefully. So this is the little guy who popped, and this is his little root system at the moment, and there is the corm that started everything. So there's the corm. So I'm going to put this in my little pot with the green periwinkle bowls. And we'll put any other corms that we find. We can put into here. So I've just put this little guy in here. I'm just going to put it off to the side. And then any other little corms I find, I'm going to put into here. And then we can pop those up later. So first things first, let's take this guy and see if there are any corms attached to the roots here, or if they've all dislodged themselves. So what you do is you just carefully go through them. Not wanting to disturb any of the finer roots that are there. You do want to get some of the sand off. Let's see what we can do here. No, so there are no corms there. I am going to peel off. This has been buried, and some of the outer casings, really we should try and get off because they're just going to rot in the pot. So just gently taking off. So that's another corm that's forming right there. A big bump in there. It's either a corm or else it's another leaf. Well, it might be another leaf that was actually, it's a bit squishy. I think it's rotting. Let's just see what's happening here. There we go. Leave that to there. All right, so that's as much as I want to take off. I don't want to disturb him too much. So what I'm going to do with him now, while we go on our corm hunt, is I'm going to put him back in the pot. He came in, there we are, and just lean that up against there. So just popped it back in the pot there, and now we can start on our little corm hunt. So what I'm going do is I have a box of my mix here, and I'm going to decant. I'm just going to move this over here. God, that soil is heavy. And I can't sit on my knees forever anymore because I'm now getting old. So, let's just put this in here and this here. All right, now let's start hunting for corms. So this takes not too much time. And it really doesn't matter if we don't get all of them. Is that a corm? I'm not sure, I'll have to wash it off and see. But if I could get a number of them, it would be wonderful. Sometimes it's hard to tell when the soil's wet like this, if you're picking up a corm or you're picking up just soil. Might fast forward over this bit. This is pretty boring for you guys. And I will stop it if I come to a, oops, no, here we go. First corm already. Oh, second corm. All right, so the corms are close to each other. So, there is a teensy little corm there, which I will wash off later and show you. And that's a much bigger corm there, which is there. It's got the little root at the end starting to come off. So, what else have we got? Ooh, another one. Oh, yay. This is going to be good. There's another decent sized corm there. Okay, so I skipped over a lot of going through the dirt to try and find the corms because it was taking a while and that's not very interesting for you guys. The result is not what I was hoping for. I do have a few corms here. I've got some little ones and some bigger ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 corms, which I'm going to plant on and see if I can get them growing nicely. That's the biggest one there, and the smallest one is just a teeny weeny baby that's there. But what I'm going to do with these is I'm going to put them into some sphagnum moss in a little round dome that I've got, and then they will just sit there until they sprout. Doesn't matter how long it takes. Sometimes it takes a few weeks, sometimes it takes 6 months. But they can just sit in there. It's an enclosed system that I've got, and so they can sit in there and come to life when they feel like it. I've tried other methods of sprouting corms. I've tried perlite and fluval and just dirt. Obviously, they will sprout in dirt because we have the little pup here. However, I find that the sphagnum moss is pretty much the easiest way to do it. I've got a lot of other corms for other alocasias that I have sitting in sphagnum moss at the moment. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I've put a little bit of the soil in here. This is the soil that was in the pot to begin with, and the rest of it I've got here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add to this with some of the substrates that I use to make up my chunky mix. So, the first thing I've got is some perlite. I've got perlite here. And this is fine perlite, but I like the thick perlite as well. It's just, this is what they had at Bunnings when I went into Bunnings to get it. So basically, I'm gonna, like I'm making a lasagna, layer upon layer upon layer to build up the soil a bit. And then the other thing I'm going to add is some cocoa bark. Now, this cocoa bark is also from Bunnings, and when I went to find it, I found it near where you get the sphagnum moss. It comes in a block, in a pressed block, and then you add water to it, and it grows and grows and grows, and becomes a massive amount. It's got pieces of bark in it, like that. It's also got bits of coconut fiber, and then smaller bits of bark. So once again, I'm just going to spread it out in layers to build up the soil. And I find that doing this, I have bought orchid bark before as well, but this is cheaper, and it seems that all my plants like it, so I just continue doing what my plants like. I do have some Osmocote somewhere which I will put in, or may put in as well, but for the most part I don't really bother with the Osmocote anymore, because I use a weak sea salt solution with every watering that I do for my plants. I have got some mycorrhizal fungi that I've bought, I think that's what it's called, which I haven't tried to use yet. I know it inoculates the roots from watching Unplanned Parenthood. That's a fantastic channel to check out if you haven't checked it out before. I'm just going to layer this up now, so I'll speed up over this as well. Now I'm going to put some of the soil back in, and then I'll give it all a mix when I finish. Okay, so we're getting down to the bottom of the soil pile where I had some of my mix in it as well. So you can see now in here, there is some of this soil already mixed with some perlite and some orchid bark. So I think we probably just dump that in there now. There we go. Now, just give it all a good mix. Like making mud pies when you were a kid. Okay, let us get to potting up. So, I'm going to pot, as I said, straight back into the pot that it was in before. So first thing, let's get these beautiful roots out, and let's just lay it down in here. And then we're going to bring this around here. Now what I'm going to do is put some of this mix in the bottom of the pot. And then I will put the root ball in. Go. So I've got about an inch worth in the bottom of the pot there. Can you see that? Put a little bit more in. Now we're going to lift this guy up. Now we want to plant him where he was before, so we want to plant him to about here. So the first thing to do is to carefully spread the roots out, because they were wrapped around themselves a little bit, so I'm just going to spread them out so they go around the pot. And then put him in the middle, and then start to put the soil around. Here we go, that's all done now. Make this, oh God, this soil is still heavy. There's so much sand in this, it's amazing. Oh, wow, I'm getting weaker. Okay, so there it is. Our little plant should be much, much happier in here. I will create a scanty cuttings, just lay them on the top, and I'll give you guys an update once it started growing a new leaf, which hopefully won't be too long, but it might be at the end of winter. Not really sure. Okay, thanks for watching. hope you enjoyed. Just a relaxing little repot. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to leave them down below. My name's Gabrielle, and I'll see you next time.